Hello everyone, I'm John, one of the 3 middle-aged Americans who embarked on an unforgettable trip to Japan. Today I'm going to share our story about venturing into the darkness when the 3 of us, myself, Richard and Elizabeth, visited the infamous Aokigahara, known as the Suicide Forest, and later explored the rich traditional culture of a nearby village. Keep in mind the most gripping and intriguing parts, with all the heart-stopping details and valuable travel tips, are coming in the second half and towards the end of the video, so stick with me until the very end. Our journey began when we flew into Tokyo in early May 2024. After a long flight, we landed with hearts full of excitement and anticipation. From Tokyo, we hopped on the Shinkansen heading to Otsuki Station and then transferred to a bus that took us into the peaceful rural areas nestled near Lake Kawaguchiko and at the foothills of Mount Fuji. Stepping out of the bustling city into the tranquil countryside felt like taking a deep, refreshing breath, preparing us for the surprises that lay ahead. Among the 3 of us, Richard was the daredevil who loved a challenge and was always on the lookout for something new, even if it meant facing danger. Elizabeth, with her artist's soul, was eager to capture every moment, from the eerie thrills to the warm, heartfelt interactions. As for me, John, I've always been fascinated by history and the spiritual essence of every place I visit, so my excitement was off the charts when I heard about Aokigahara, a place notorious for its ghostly legends and haunting mysteries, yet rich with life lessons. A local friend advised us that if we truly wanted to uncover the secrets of Aokigahara, we should enter early in the morning when the first light just began to filter through. However, we were also warned not to be overly confident, because this forest is known for its chilling aura. Before stepping into the forest, we made sure to be well prepared, carrying plenty of water, flashlights, raincoats, and a detailed map. Even though we knew Aokigahara was steeped in sorrow and enigma, our curiosity propelled us forward. The moment we stepped into the forest, I immediately sensed something off. Dim light filtered through the dense canopy, casting strange, almost surreal shadows on the forest floor. Every crunch of dried leaves underfoot echoed ominously, interspersed with the gentle rustling of the wind through the branches. Everything around us felt unnaturally silent, leaving me caught between fear and curiosity.
Do you hear that? It sounds like a sigh, or someone whispering.
At that moment, Elizabeth quietly scanned the surroundings with her camera, determined to capture every eerie sound and sight. My heart pounded and my hands trembled, but I pressed on, knowing that every second in this place was a lesson in itself. We followed a narrow trail that wound deep into the forest. Towering trees and thick foliage obscured much of the sky, leaving the area dim and shadowed. Ancient trees with deeply scarred trunks and rough, weathered bark seemed to hold the memories of past eras, as if silently recounting the pain and secrets of lost souls. In that moment, I couldn't help but wonder, had these trees witnessed countless tragedies and the despair of wandering spirits? Suddenly, Richard halted in his tracks, his flashlight clutched tightly in his hand. He stood still, eyes fixed behind him, as if trying to catch a glimpse of someone or something. It felt as though an unseen presence was tracking our every step. I tried to reassure him, saying maybe it's just the weak light and the wind playing tricks, yet deep down a shiver ran through me. After about 2 hours of hiking, we stumbled upon a small resting spot by a trickling stream. The gentle murmur of water over rocks created a soothing background melody, though it couldn't quite dispel the chilling atmosphere of the forest. While we took a moment to catch our breath, Richard began sharing eerie stories about Aokigahara that he had heard from local residents.
Many people come here burdened with sorrow, and sometimes they leave their mark on the forest. These stories are not only spine-chilling, but also deeply moving.
I once lived in Japan for a short while and heard tales about this forest that I never imagined I'd actually experience. Every step here feels like we're being drawn into another world.
Her words only deepened the ominous ambience, yet at the same time, they stoked my curiosity. I realized that Aokigahara wasn't just another tourist destination. It was a repository of past pain and the hopelessness of souls who couldn't find their way out. As we ventured further into the forest, everything grew even more surreal. At times I could swear I heard soft murmurs coming from somewhere, like the faint voices of lost souls. One unforgettable moment occurred when, out of nowhere, we caught sight of a vague figure standing motionless in the darkness.
Guys, that wasn't our imagination. It looks like someone is really here with us.
I tried my best to remain composed, though inside I was a tangle of fear and intrigue. We pressed on, our hearts heavy with uncertainty, each step possibly leading us to a new, terrifying revelation. Our journey wasn't only about spine-tingling moments, it also presented its share of hardships. As the clouds began to roll in, an unexpected downpour hit us. The forest trail turned slick and treacherous, and our flashlights started to falter in the damp darkness. In the midst of the rain, we lost our bearings with no clear signs pointing out the way.
We must have taken a wrong turn. Let's stay calm and look for any marker that could lead us out.
Richard quickly tried using his phone's GPS, but the signal was weak amidst the dense canopy, making the situation even more frustrating. A sense of entrapment washed over us, and I wondered if we would ever find a way out of this natural maze. Fortunately, after about 45 nerve-wracking minutes, we noticed a small sign carved into a large rock, pointing us toward an exit. A wave of relief swept over us as we hurried in that direction, gradually reclaiming the main path. Leaving Aokigahara behind, we experienced a striking contrast as we entered Fujiyoshida, a quaint village nestled at the foot of Mount Fuji. The small streets, traditional wooden houses, and the warm smiles of the locals painted a vivid picture of Japan's time-honored culture. Upon arriving in Fujiyoshida, we were warmly welcomed by a local family. The elderly lady who hosted us greeted us with a kind smile and invited us into her home, where she shared stories about the village's history and the customs passed down through generations.
Every season, we hold small festivals to pray for bountiful harvests and peace.
Her words filled me with warmth, as if the gentle hospitality of the villagers was a healing balm after our tense hours in the forest. In the village, we toured several small shrines, browsed through the local market, and even participated in a traditional ceremony at the Hachiman Shrine, a sacred place deeply cherished by the locals. I felt the serene, almost spiritual atmosphere mixed with the rustic charm of everyday life. Ever the inquisitive soul, Richard peppered the shrine caretaker with questions about the origins of the local festivals and the meaning behind each ritual.
So what's the story behind this festival, and what do these rituals symbolize?
Meanwhile, Elizabeth immersed herself in the local culinary culture, eagerly sampling specialty dishes like hoto and traditional udon.
With every flavor, I feel as though I'm tasting a story of Japanese hospitality and heritage.
That evening in the village, after a cozy dinner featuring grilled fish with scallions, miso soup, and steaming white rice, we attended yet another traditional event. The entire village was adorned with hundreds of lanterns, their shimmering lights dancing along the narrow streets. During the celebration, everyone donned traditional kimono and joined in dances and folk songs that had echoed through the ages. Although I couldn't grasp every nuance of the rituals, the sense of sanctity, unity, and genuine human connection filled the air.
It's hard to put into words the feeling of being a part of this festival. It's not just a performance, it's a bridge between the past and the present, between sorrow and joy.
After the festivities, we wandered around the village, stopping by small craft shops. I even picked up a few souvenirs, a delicate paper washi fan and a small wooden box engraved with the kanji ping-hi, heiwa, meaning peace, as a reminder that no matter how tough life gets, there is always room in our hearts for peace and serenity. Before leaving Fujiyoshida, we savoured a magical moment by Lake Kawaguchiko at sunrise. The early light broke through a thin mist over the water, perfectly framing the majestic Mount Fuji in the background. Standing by the lake, I felt an overwhelming sense of unity between nature and humanity. Those first rays of sunlight swept away our exhaustion and worries, reaffirming that after every storm, light eventually prevails over darkness. On our flight back to America from our hotel near Kawaguchiko, I spent some time jotting down my thoughts and emotions. I couldn't help but wonder if each of us has our own Aokigahara, a place where we hide our deepest fears and unspoken memories, and if only by facing these inner demons can we truly appreciate the value of life. I recalled the tense moments in the forest when the rain had caught us off guard and we lost our way. In that desperate moment, Richard had said,
Let's work together to find even the smallest glimmer of hope.
His words became the beacon that helped us overcome our fear and eventually find our path out of the wilderness. From that experience, I learned that in every challenge, as long as we remain calm, support one another, and believe in ourselves, there is always a way out. Our journey wasn't merely about ticking off famous spots on a map. It was an in-depth exploration into the soul of Japanese culture. In Fujiyoshida, I had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Satoshi, a gentle farmer who had lived in the village all his life. He shared,
Here, we believe that every season brings its own blessings. Even on rainy days, we find joy in simple gatherings and in sharing our everyday stories.
His words resonated deeply with me, a gentle reminder that no matter how many obstacles life throws our way, unity and gratitude can help us overcome the toughest moments. Alongside these cultural experiences, I also had the chance to learn about traditional Japanese arts. Elizabeth, with her artistic passion, joined a pottery class led by a local artisan. She later said,
Each piece of pottery is not just an object. It holds the spirit, the story of the maker, and the history of this village.
This experience deepened her appreciation for the intangible values embedded in Japanese traditions. I, too, took part in a traditional tea ceremony where every subtle gesture conveyed a philosophy of balance between the mind and body. The tea master told me,
Tea isn't just a drink, it's an art, a way to restore equilibrium in both body and soul.
These moments helped me understand that Japanese culture is profoundly multifaceted, not just visible in temples and festivals, but also in the quiet rituals of everyday life. Throughout our trip, I gathered plenty of useful tips for anyone planning to visit Aokigahara. Here are a few key pieces of advice. Always travel in a group. Never venture into a place like Aokigahara alone. It can be easy to feel lost in its overwhelming aura. Be well prepared. Ensure you bring a reliable flashlight, rain gear, water, and a detailed map. Check all your equipment beforehand, as mobile signals are usually weak in the forest. Stay calm. Even if you lose your way or encounter something frightening, keep your composure and support each other. A little panic can only make things worse. Respect the local culture. Remember that Aokigahara and its surrounding areas hold deep cultural and spiritual significance for the Japanese people. Don't intrude too deeply into what you might not fully understand. Always respect and heed the advice of the locals. Reflecting back on our spiritual journey, I cannot forget the moment we passed by a narrow trail, where I suddenly noticed an old stone plaque engraved with the words, "Keep your heart pure and be grateful for life." At first I didn't grasp its meaning, But later I realized it was a timeless reminder from our ancestors to cherish every moment, no matter how challenging life might be. Another moment that left a lasting impression was when we were invited to a community gathering in the village. The locals had come together to share stories about their past, the hardships they'd endured, and the resilience that helped them overcome those dark days. A middle-aged woman with a soft, yet determined voice said,
"Whenever we face adversity, we always have each other to lean on. That's the true strength of our community."
Her words warmed my heart after the chilling hours in the forest, reminding me that no matter how heavy our burdens may seem, compassion and unity always provide the strength to move forward. Before we departed Japan, we enjoyed one last, special moment by Lake Kawaguchiko at dawn. With Mount Fuji cloaked in a delicate mist and the first rays of sunlight gently breaking over the horizon, I stood by the water's edge and felt an overwhelming sense of renewal. It was as if the light had finally dispelled the darkness, reaffirming my belief that even after the deepest shadows, hope and brilliance will always emerge. On the flight back home, as I gazed out the window, I couldn't shake the memories of the images, sounds and emotions Japan had etched into me. I wondered if every one of us has a personal Aokigahara, a place where our hidden fears and unspeakable memories reside, and that only by confronting them can we truly understand the value of our lives. Our experience taught me that bravery isn't about never feeling fear. It's about overcoming that fear through trust, teamwork and self-belief. To sum it all up, our journey was a blend of two contrasting yet equally impactful experiences. The dark chapter, our trek into Aokigahara, delivered spine-tingling moments, heart-racing encounters in an environment steeped in mystery, unexpected challenges like being caught in a sudden downpour and losing our way in the thick woods. These experiences taught us resilience, the importance of facing fears head-on, and how adversity can lead us to discover more about ourselves. The light chapter, in contrast, Fujiyoshida, with its warm hospitality, deep-rooted traditions and inspiring stories, showed us a side of Japan that was both soothing and uplifting. Here, we connected with the locals, participated in time-honored ceremonies, and learned valuable lessons about unity and gratitude. Personal takeaways. Every experience, whether it was the nerve-wracking moments in the forest or the peaceful gatherings in the village, has contributed to shaping who I am today. I've come to realize that travel is not just about checking off destinations on a list. It's an inner journey, a chance to learn about yourself and the world around you. I hope that by sharing our story, you'll be inspired to step out of your comfort zone and explore new, even if slightly daunting experiences. Remember, every trip is an opportunity to meet new people, learn something new, and grow as a person. If you have your own travel stories or tips to share, please do so in the comments below or via the contact information in the description. Your experiences help build a community of passionate travelers and inspire others to embark on their own adventures. Thank you for listening to our journey from the eerie moments in Aokigahara to the heartwarming encounters in Fujiyoshida. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share this video if you found it inspiring. Leave your comments and share your thoughts, because I truly believe that by sharing our experiences, we all learn to appreciate life a little more. Wishing you safe travels, enriching experiences and the courage to always find the light, even when surrounded by darkness. See you in the next travel video, where every journey promises unforgettable stories and invaluable life lessons. Remember, life is an endless journey, and every experience, whether sweet or bitter, contributes to who you are. Thank you, and see you next time.